Well, one transfer portal visit could have major implications for Mississippi State.
You are Locked On Mississippi State, your daily podcast on the Mississippi State Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. And this is the Locked On Mississippi State podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, and now the #1 sports podcast network. I'm Jaron Spor, nearly a decade in journalism and a national college football writer with Athlon Sports, joined by my co-host, Landon McBride, a longtime journalist and college sports fanatic. This is your daily home for all things Mississippi State. Today, we're breaking down transfer portal developments with a focus on Jordan Seaton's visit and what it could mean for Mississippi State. Then we'll recap the latest results from the Bulldogs basketball teams before wrapping things up with our top dog of the week, our player of the week segment. And to our everydayers, stick around at the end. We'll talk about how we can make your experience even better. Also, we're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter with daily videos Monday through Friday. So make sure you like and subscribe over there as well. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The college football playoff is here, and FanDuel is the best place to get into the action all playoff long. So visit FanDuel.com to get your college football playoff profit boost every game day. And speaking of the playoff, tonight's the national championship game. Yeah. But we have a lot of stuff to talk about with college athletics. So usually on Tuesday, we kind of recap college games. We'll have to push the national championship recap to Wednesday. We just have to talk about. So just a heads up on that. I'm trying to think if there was anything else we needed to talk about before we get underway, but I think that pretty much does it. Another thing. Yeah, there is actually one, and it kind of relates to the first segment. So we mentioned several times, hey, people had until this past Friday to enter the transfer portal, at least announce their intentions and sign the paperwork. It could take a couple of days to actually get into the portal. Now, I read something else again this weekend that because today is a holiday, it might actually even take till Wednesday. Yeah. So just in case you see stuff popping Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that is why. Yeah. Doesn't mean they didn't enter on Friday. Just means it might take it does take a couple days to process things. But let's dive in the transfer portal because the biggest news is the Jordan Seaton news. It's something that we talked about Friday, the latter half of that episode, because it popped while we were recording that episode. But so this is what we do know. Obviously, Jordan Seaton was a 5-star offensive lineman, true freshman All-American in 2024. This year was an All-Big 12 second-teamer. He took his first visit to Mississippi State, which was kind of a surprise to everyone. Now, Phil Loadholt was his coach in 2024 at Colorado, so that obviously will play a factor in this. He then left Mississippi State, went to Miami, then went to LSU, and then reports are he's going to go to Oregon after that. I believe Texas is another one that he might be visiting, but so far those are the ones that I've at least for sure heard. But we're just going to dive into it a little more. So what I've heard from the weekend is it went great, which you hear almost after every visit, but I heard it went great. The big thing that I heard was money. It's hard to say this because the thing I heard was money will not be an issue to get him.
Okay.
But a lot of people say, oh, well, that means you will just throw out whatever money you want to throw out. No, that's not the truth. Yeah. That just means like whatever he's asking, they're going to give it to him. But another team can come in and say, I'll double it. And then they get him. Like, and that's just how it works, how this thing works. Just because it doesn't mean, just because you say money's not an option, doesn't mean you're just going to, hey, I'll throw out $10 million for it. No, it just means you're going to go to his price and maybe even a little above his price. Right. But if another team comes in with an ungodly amount of money, it's just you're not going to beat that.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to hear that's not an option. But, I mean, we've seen Miami throw a ton of money around in the transfer portal. And obviously Oregon with Phil Knight's money can kind of hand every one they want a blank check. So it's great it went well. It's good to hear that is not an issue. But when you're playing with those guys in the NIL space, that's a different conversation. That just means you have what's available, not that you have enough. I mean, obviously his fit on the field would be great. I mean, he's great talent, 5-star recruit, freshman All-American, all conference guy. He anchors your line. You need someone to do that. Having him at left tackle would just change the shape of what they're trying to do offensively. If he can jump in and hit the ground running, which, I mean, Loadholt's recruited him at every chance he's gotten at OU, Colorado, and now trying to get him to come here. So it's those two they're kind of connected, but also seem to also be missing each other a lot. But maybe it's enough to get him to come here, or at least get you in the room where it's, hey, Oregon has offered me this insane amount of money. If you can come close, I'll come with y'all. But it's another one of those. Hey, you got to be in the battles to win them. It's good to be in this battle. I don't know if it's one we can win, but it sounds like it's a little bit more possible than I initially thought when the news of his visit first came out.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the thing that we've talked about many times, which is you have to be in the battle to win the battle, and that's 100% true. And it says a lot that Phil Loadholt's having the reputation already to get, and I know he has a prior history coaching Seaton, but just to have a highly touted, the number one ranked offensive tackle, offensive lineman in the portal, to come at least on a visit. With that being said, do I think that they'll end up getting him? I do not. I think he'll end up going to an Oregon, a Miami, an LSU, a Texas. I think Mississippi State's probably fifth in this running. But I do think at least you're in the battle. And I know the immediate comments are, it doesn't matter if you're in it if you don't win it. And I get that. I understand it. But you have to first, before you can win them, you usually have to start being in them. And then you start winning them. I do know one of his more recent followers is Kamario Taylor on social media. So now he followed a bunch of people at Texas. I know right out of the gate, Arch Manning's, things like that. So he's taking his time and he's going to look around. I would expect a decision by this weekend, but you never know. Things can. I mean, he could go to LSU, or he's done the LSU visit and might commit then, or he might go on the Oregon visit and commit then. If he does take the Texas visit, maybe he commits then. Like, you never know. But my guess, I wouldn't get your hopes up if you're Mississippi State, but it's still a big thing, at least, and also a national perception is a real thing. It's really cool to at least be in this conversation right now.
Yeah, like I mentioned, you're dealing with like the deepest of the deep pockets for this guy. I mean, when you throw in Texas too, those guys have almost unlimited money. They kind of Oregon and A&M are about the ones with the unlimited pockets. So if it was just Mississippi State and LSU, I would feel decent about getting him because of the Loadholt connection. I think that would give you a little bit of a leg up if you can match money. But with all these other teams, it just seems there's too much going against us. Just too many things coming from different ways. You have a team that's in the national championship that wants him with deep pockets, a team that was in the semis with even deeper pockets. Texas was there last year, or in the college football playoff last year, ton of money. So you're dealing with true blue bloods. Oregon, more of a new blue blood, but and it's a lot to overcome. It doesn't look good. I'm still holding out hope, but like you mentioned, I'm not getting it too high that there's a chance. But until it's over, it's not over. But it's fun to be here. It'd be more fun if he would commit, but it's not. And you're still rebuilding. The fact that he's even coming to visit when you are this many steps below those teams in terms of team building where you are as an organization, that says a lot about the coaching staff.
Yeah, the coaching staff and the players that you have on the roster. I mean, it's obviously a team that he thinks he can win with already this upcoming year. Does that mean national championship? No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying that he thinks they can win some games and get bowl eligible and that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, if he comes, then, I mean, you immediately have a really, I would say, a good offensive line, which you haven't had you've had an awful offensive line the last couple of years. This would put you kind of in that good territory. And there's not a whole lot of weaknesses on it. Another thing that we hadn't talked about, but Cannon Boone did get that extra year of eligibility. We've talked about what are you going to do at center.
Well, that's what you're going to do at center.
Eligibility. That at least helps quite a bit. As far as Seaton goes, man, I mean, we just saw what money can do with the Darian Mensah stuff at Duke. Darian Mensah decided not to go to the NFL, which a lot of people thought he would. Decided to stay at Duke. Big reason why is they've been ponying up the money at quarterback position specifically. That's what got him there in the first place. And Miami strikes out on Sam Levitt. He goes to LSU. They then reportedly offered a lot of money to get Ty Simpson to get out of the draft, enter the portal, and come. He decided to stay in the portal. And then as soon as the reports were like, what is Miami going to do at quarterback? Boom, Darian Mintz enters the transfer portal. Can't tell me that there's not been some conversations being had between Darian Mintz and Miami. So my expectation is, and he might have already committed by the time this podcast gets out, but my expectation is he ends up going to Miami.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and so Jordan Seaton getting brought in there. They have I can't remember how you pronounce his last name, but Francis Magua, I believe how you pronounce it. Moagoa, something like that. Anyways, he's going to be a highly ranked draft pick, so they're going to have to replace him on the offensive line. So, we know what money can do for sure, and it'll play a factor here, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, you have to assume it will, and yeah, you're right. That is when you go on a run like Miami has had and you're losing as many pieces as they are to the draft, you got to reload quickly to kind of keep that momentum going. So I understand why they're just going to throw some money around, like they did when they won the titles the last time.
This time it's legal.
So that should be their tagline.
I saw someone said it was actually Mario Cristobal. He did an interview with Josh Pate, and it was before the season, and he was asking him about Miami getting back to being Miami. And he said, that actually upsets me because this team is built a lot differently than those teams. And it was like, yeah, I mean, kind of. It's still built with money. It's just this time's legal. But, yeah, they are built differently. I will say they are built differently because those teams were kind of the bad boys of the league, and that's not really how this Miami team is. But it was just a funny comment. It's like, yeah. And he would know. He played on a lot of those teams, back then. So, all right, coming up next, we got to recap the basketball, both basketball teams throughout the week. Men's team had a heartbreaking loss. Women's team pulled off a massive upset this weekend. We'll talk about both that coming up next. Well, the college football playoff is here, and FanDuel is giving all customers even more ways to get in on the action every single game day of the playoffs. Because right now, every college football playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost waiting for them in the app. Here's what I love about it. You get to use the profit boost on the bets you already feel good about. Ride with the favorite when you think a team controls the matchup. Take a shot on the underdog if you feel an upset coming, or build a parlay around the players and moments you think decide the game. Then you apply the profit boost and go after even bigger winnings. And when you win, FanDuel pays out instantly, which is perfect for playing off football. FanDuel is the best place to get into the action all playoff long. So visit FanDuel.com to get your college football playoff profit boost every game day. All right. Well, thank you for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out our new Everydayer Club. Access to an ad-free audio feed for Locked On Mississippi State, compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. An invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat just for listeners of this show. Landon and I are in that group chat. The Seaton stuff would have been a great example of something that we could have talked about over this weekend in that chat before we actually bring it to the podcast. So that's some extra information you would have gotten if you spent the $5 to be in the Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server. Go to the in the show notes, there's a URL. Go to that URL, tap it, and that's where you can learn more information about the Everydayer Club. All right, so let's recap the men's basketball team first, and then we'll dive into the women's. They're on a 3-game losing streak, so pretty much that momentum they built up. Had the big win over Texas, big win over Oklahoma to start SEC play. Looked like they could push for a tournament bid, and we said they really need to go 7-2, 6-3 during this stretch. Well, they've already suffered their 3 losses. They lost to Kentucky big. They lost to Alabama big. And the Ole Miss game was a game, again, they were actually up in at half. I think they might have been up double digits at half. Or no, they were up 3 at half. But they really were in control for much of this game. And it wasn't until late that they kind of
30 seconds left.
It wasn't until late that they kind of crumbled. Josh Hubbard went to the line to give them a chance to lead, and he misses the front end of a 1-on-1. He didn't have his best game, 3 of 16, 13 points. And Jaden Epps did score 14, but he also didn't shoot well, 4 of 18 from the field. But they did get assistance from Jamarian Davis Fleming, who had 13 points on 6 of 8. it's one of those games that, Hubbard and Epps really haven't together had bad games.
True.
And we've already said many times, they can't afford them to.
Mhm.
They can't afford really one of them to have a bad game. Because
Definitely
they
can't
usually
afford
don't
both.
get that extra help. This one, they got the extra help, but both of them didn't play
Yeah.
well. And it's hard to win, and they end up losing by 1.
Yeah, this is a heartbreaking loss. I mean, I think they had the lead with something like 19 seconds to go was when Ole Miss hit the shot to win it, basically win it. I mean, there's still so much basketball left to play. You hate to say this, but I think the season's done. I mean, I don't think the team can make a tournament. You pretty much have to win out at this point to get in the tournament, or again, win the SEC tournament to get in. So
I think it's done if they don't go 6-3 during this stretch, which that means they have to win the next 4.
Yeah.
Which only one is against a ranked team right now. So there's at least a chance.
Yeah, there's a chance, but just with how this team is playing, it seems like once they fix one problem, a new problem shows up.
Mhm.
And it's just, I'm not sure why the pieces seem to fit together well when they're, when we're looking at the transfer portal, some of the young guys coming up, Josh Hubbard came back. It just really seemed like this team would have they fit well together, a lot of returning pieces, same head coach, thought it could kind of hit the ground running. It hasn't looked good. There have been long stretches where this team has not looked good, both throughout the season, like these last 3 games, and in games. There have been stretches where this team just doesn't look like a unit. So I'm about ready to stick a fork in them in terms of them having any kind of postseason run. But yeah, this has just kind of been a frustrating basketball year.
Unfortunately, I do think I agree with you. I will hold out just because I said go 6-3 during that stretch, and technically they can still go 6-3. So I will hold out.
They're
If they
doing
lose
the hard way,
A&M, right? If they lose to A&M or something like that, then I'm with you. I'm completely with you that it's just not going to happen. And I also think be prepared. I think this is Josh Hubbard's last year in Starkville. You don't typically see a guy declare for the draft, kind of get feedback, come back, and then not declare after that.
Right.
Usually, if they're declaring right there, knowing that they're not going to get picked, they want to know what they have to fix because they're ready to go. And so then they come back, they work on, which he has. He's had a better year this year than he's had in the past. Now, he didn't play great against Ole Miss, but
Yep. You got
there
muted.
it goes. It's muted first. But yeah, he's had a better year overall. And so that's why I was saying I think this will be his last year. And so I do think they're probably done if they can't go 4-0 in this next stretch, which I don't see happening. As for the women, we talked about the women a lot, obviously, before SEC conference started. And our whole thing on them was, they've had this great start, but let's see what they can do in the conference. Well, they started the conference with a win over Auburn by 22 and then lost 4 straight games. Almost by 50 to Oklahoma, Oklahoma's kind of fell off the cliff here. They lost by Tennessee by 10. Then they lose to Ole Miss by 25. They did, but then they started. And again, we did say this before that, hey, just because they start slow doesn't mean anything because they're playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight ranked opponents, and 8 of their first 9 games are against ranked opponents. Well, they then played Vanderbilt tough, lost by 5 earlier this week on Thursday to number 5 ranked Vanderbilt. Then it's like, okay, you get number 7 Kentucky at home, and that was a game they just dominated. They won 71-59 on Sunday. Kharyssa Richardson, 23 points, 9 of 13 from the field. Nwaedozi had a great game. Favour Nwaedozi, 10 points, 21 rebounds for her
dominating
in that game. Madison Francis, you look at her numbers, 7 points, 3 of 12 from the field, but had 6 blocks in the game.
Crazy.
And then Trayana Crisp had 16 points, was 4 or 5 from the field. So yeah, I mean, it was just a really good showing for them.
Yeah, this was a very complete game. Like you mentioned, Kharyssa Richardson, great game, 23-7. I mean, that's your leader. That's awesome. Obviously, with 21 rebounds from one person and 6 blocks from the other, you're dominating in the paint. When that's happening, you are controlling a portion of the court. And I don't know, we're kind of seeing I don't want to say what I thought. I was hoping for a few more wins during the stretch, or at least more competitive losses, but it's kind of where this team falls in, just a half step below like those elite teams. Like they can compete some nights it's not going to go well. Some nights they're going to come out with wins. So, I mean, it's a great win. Definitely helps their tournament resume with how they started the year. Plus this, obviously they got to string some more wins together to guarantee a spot in the tournament. But this is a great big win and a great step in that direction.
And now they got a week off before they play number 21 ranked Alabama on the road. So they play them next Sunday. So that's all obviously big as well, that they don't have to then turn around and play Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. They get off till Sunday. But the next two games are on the road, also against ranked teams, against the number 21 Alabama, number 20 ranked Tennessee, which again, Tennessee beat them earlier in the year 90-80. So, and that one was at home. But it was at least a 10-point game. I believe that was one that, if I remember, first quarter kind of got away from them. They were down 7, but after that, they lost by 3, lost by 1, and then won by 1. So the next 3 quarters, it's a 3-point game. It's just the first quarter they lost by 7. So that's definitely a game that they can win. It's going to be on the road, so that's going to make it difficult. But after they take on Tennessee, then they got 1, 2, 3 ranked teams the rest of the season they play. So out of their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games, 3 are against ranked opponents. So then they can possibly get some wins back up on the board.
Yeah, you hope you at least split these next 2. Obviously, you'd like a sweep, but splitting the next 2 and then going on a little run to end conference play would really give them some momentum, both in the locker room and with the selection committee when it comes time for tournament time.
Yeah, for sure. All right, coming up next, we will reveal our top dog of the week. Don't go anywhere.
Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. And instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online, and they'll handle everything from your W-2s to self-employed forms and work to get you every deduction possible. And you can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver and gives real peace of mind knowing an expert is handling it. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file your taxes last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit turbotax.com/local to book your appointment today.
All right. Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, Landon. So our top dog of the week, who are you going with?
So I almost went with Phil Loadholt just because, brought in a ton of bodies for the offensive line, got us in the Jordan Seaton thing. But I'm a sucker for people putting up huge numbers in things. So Favour Nwaedozi with those 21 rebounds. That's an insane number of rebounds. I'm giving it to her, a double-double, 21 rebounds, and that big upset win. I mean, when I see 20 rebounds, that's one of those numbers that when I see it in a box score, someone took over a part of the game. You just don't see that very often. So, giving it to her.
Well, and earlier this week, she was 7 of 10 from the field, 14 points, and 6 rebounds against Vandy. So she played good in that one, despite the loss. And, Vandy's undefeated 18-0 this year. But as far as my pick, I was going to go with Kharyssa Richardson. So it actually worked out. Mentioned her numbers in the game against Kentucky, 23 points. Earlier in the week against Vandy, she was 5 of 11, 13 points, 4 rebounds. So a really good week this week for her, 18 points per game during the week. So I think she deserves all the props because – and I do like the Phil Loadholt nod just because getting Jordan on campus is obviously massive. If you can close him, he'll definitely get it. Definitely end up getting it. There was another one I was considering, but I don't want to reveal it because we're going to talk about it tomorrow. On tomorrow's episode. So there's no but I was considering them, but I was going to go but it would have given away tomorrow's topic. So I didn't, and I thought they deserved at least a full segment. Kind of discuss what they did. But yeah, so I'm going to go with Kharyssa Richardson. Outstanding week from her.
Yeah, she had a great week. Another great game. I mean, you really could just kind of go with just about anyone on the women's basketball team after that Kentucky win. So many of them had good days. You mentioned Madison Francis with 6 blocks, another one, crazy number of blocks. So there's a lot going on right now. Unfortunately, the men's basketball doesn't seem to be on the good side, unlike all the other sports going on. So
right. Yeah, it's not been a great stretch right now for them. So, all right. Well, thanks for tuning in today to Locked On Mississippi State. I just teased one of the things we're going to talk about tomorrow, but there's a lot more we're going to talk about because transfer portal is kind of wrapping up. So we're going to give a grade on that, kind of give you our early prediction for next season. So make sure you like and subscribe and follow our Locked On Mississippi State podcast so you get all the latest episodes. Remember, on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter with daily videos Monday through Friday. If you never miss an episode, the Everyday Club is built for you. Get Locked On Mississippi State ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to the custom link in the show notes to join the club. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On College Football. For Locked On Mississippi State, I'm Jaron. That's Landon. Until next time, Hail State.
Hail State.